I'm trying to shake out some sort of mid-wedding season energy so that we can do our video today, which is on the Spider camera holster system. Basically, this is just a way of carrying your cameras on the job that's kind of an alternative to the shoulder strap sort of things that you tend to see. And both of us use it religiously for a long time, and we both love it, so that's why we're going to talk about it today.
So this is their original system, the Spider Pro.
Yeah, that's the
holster. It's the dual camera, so you can shoot 2 cameras on your body.
We kind of assume that we're talking to wedding photographers, and that most of you probably will be using the 2 systems, but the dual system.
Yeah.
But actually, it does come originally with the belt attached, like physically attached to one pad, and then you can actually opt to add in the second pad yourself. So you can have this just for one camera body, but assuming that everyone's probably going to be shooting
it's more functional. I think it's more functional as a dual system.
Yeah.
You don't have as much need for it if you're just shooting with one camera.
Yeah.
So most people are going to see it with the dual system like that.
Mm. So there's kind of several variations they brought out. This is the Spider Pro, the original, like she was saying. But they've also more recently brought out the Spider Lite, which is built for like mirrorless cameras.
Mm-hmm. Smaller cameras, yeah.
And I have done the really nerdy thing of weighing both of them on my little kitchen scales, and I can tell you there's about 400 grams difference in weight, and you do feel it. Like when
that's
I
actually
first
quite a big
this up,
difference.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the weight is lost in the sort of the size of the metal plate, and you can also tell the pad is a little bit shorter as well.
Yeah.
If you're shooting a mirrorless camera, I once I switched to this, I was like, I can't imagine going back to this because it just seems excessive to me. If you're shooting like digital SLR, then
this might make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this one, I think maybe even your camera will probably sit off the end of the pad potentially.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of these pads. I think they're a bit big.
Yeah. I tend to bend them. Like you can probably see on that one over time. I've sort of bent this.
That's probably better than your trousers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like I think when I've squatted and pushed it up, there's a bit of that because it's quite long on me as a wee person. So this one so far has kind of survived a little bit. There's a small bend where the way it works is on the belt there's this kind of metal attachment bit, and this is where you would hook the camera into. And on your camera you would add a kind of plate attachment thing that comes when you buy the whole box. Right. But there's several different variations of it. With the Pro version, there's this big original plate. Do you want to move it out? Show it both sides. 360 rotation. And then with the Lite, they actually come with these smaller plates. So as you can see, it's a little jazzy. And if you use these plates, the upside is that it contains like an extra tripod hole. So you don't have to remove the plates to actually put your camera onto a tripod for when you want to do your astro light sparkler shutter jaggy shot. But I find that the way that the plates sort of force you to position the camera is kind of at an angle that I'm not a fan of, because I think it puts a bit of stress on the lens sometimes. That's not an official comment on it.
That's just your theory.
It's just something that worries me. So I tend to use these little pins that they also sell where it just goes straight to tripod mount. And the downside is I do have to remove it every time I want to add this onto a tripod, but I don't do that often enough that it bothers me. I tend to just carry a small wrench in my camera bag, actually. It sort of defeats the purpose of keeping things light, but anyway. And then basically the bottom pin, apple bottom pin, camera in the belt, that thing. That one, you would slide it into that little gap there, and generally it should automatically lock if you've left it down. Yeah. You have the option to also leave it unlocked, so if you leave it pushed up, you can actually do that.
Locked. I actually am in the really bad habit of leaving it unlocked quite often, so I'm trying to force myself to leave it locked more often. Mm. So when I start to move, I start to walk around, I'll have the habit of going and locking the cameras in. Mm. But I do need to be better at the habit of keeping them locked. When they're locked in, they don't move. Yeah. They're in there.
It's very good.
You could probably do a handstand. We should actually test to have you do a handstand.
I've used it to climb around bits and stuff. Yeah.
And they don't come off. So if it's locked in, it's locked in. It's not moving. They're
very well built. They are reliable. You can trust your thousands of pounds worth of gear with these. Yeah. And the way that it goes around your belt,
your waist.
The way that it goes around your waist, even the buckle has a double locking system. So again, that's extra secure. You're not going to have, as long as you push it together and you hear that click, you're not going to have this belt kind of coming undone on you in the middle of the ceremony or whatever.
Right. I also quite like that when the cameras are locked in and they're on you, they're not swinging around and hitting things. They're quite secure on your body. Yeah. So I find sometimes I'm a little bit wider just because I have things in my things sitting off my hip. But I'm not like swinging around and like hitting door frames and stuff like that.
Small children.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's different though. They usually have it coming. Now we've upset the parent section of the population. So I initially came to these a few years ago because I had, at the beginning of wedding season, I had this really bad neck pain. I don't know exactly what I did. I think it was a combination of like exercising and using like a really heavy bag lens system. I was just putting way too much weight on my neck and my shoulders. And so I knew like I could not survive wedding season at the current state that I was doing. So I like immediately, I didn't even care how much these cost. So I was like, I have to have it because I need to do something about my pain. Like when I was driving, I couldn't even like check my blind spots. It was, I could barely turn my head. It was really, really bad. So I bought one of these. And the reason why I didn't buy them initially is I didn't really like the way they looked. I thought they kind of looked a little bit like an old guy with a fanny pack. Like I like dressing up nicely at weddings, and I just thought they looked a bit casual.
Even now, I'd still love it if they could do it in a nice buffalo leather or something. Or
yeah, I think it could be a bit fancier, and I think that was my original. I just wasn't a big fan of the style of them, but I out of practicality, I was like, I have to have it, and I do not regret purchasing it. Even though I like dressing up nicely, it's
kind of a strong testimony to how good this and valuable.
Yeah, I happily recommend it.
Yeah,
even though I don't like how casual it looks. So what I've done is I've actually made like a modified version of it. So I found this thick black leather belt. It's actually vintage. I found it on Etsy. But I liked that it was thick, and I felt like it would really hold the weight. And then these you can actually buy the holster clips on their website. So this is the Spider Light holster clips.
So it's the same.
It's the same one. Okay. Yeah, so it's the same one. So you can actually buy just the clips. So I've bought the 2 clips, and then I've used this as kind of like a modified version of the same belt. I would say it's probably not as comfortable as the original, but I like the way it looks a bit more. So I've been doing that. And you can also add stuff to it, much like a Batman belt. These are the clips. Have you seen these?
I haven't actually, no.
These are really cool. So they sell these spider clips on their website as well. And these just add on straight to the belt. They're like clips like that. And then you can add these to like any of your accessories that you kind of use often, but you don't. So I put this on on my flashes. So if I don't want to use the flash all the time, but I want to keep it on me, like I have it on the flash, and it just kind of clips in right there, which is really nice. So I can kind of like, if I know I might need flash at some point, I can just keep the flash on my belt.
And then you can remove it
and you can take it off.
Okay, so it's instantly,
Yeah. So if you have like flashes or triggers or any like accessory that you might use, but you want to keep on you, that's really nice. You do kind of, eventually I probably am going to look a bit ridiculous. I'm just going to be covered in flashes and like extra accessories. But I think it's quite nice to be able to have that option to take them on and off. So you can make modified versions of the belt.
If you really don't like the
look. So
how do you find it without the pad?
I'm not that fussed about the pads.
Okay.
Like I have my whole wardrobe is like full of wedding clothes. So like if I wear through one of them, I'll just wear something else. I mean, my clothes don't really last more than a season anyways, because they're getting worn out by me like laying down in the mud and the dirt anyways. Yeah. So I don't need it to protect my clothes as much. Yeah. Just because it's not protecting me from me laying down in a puddle. Like that's just a thing. There's also, this is something I use as well. This is their Spider card holder that also fits on the belt. And so they have all these cool accessories that you can kind of add in that make you even look more like Batman, which is cool. But yeah, so the cards, you can actually have loads of cards space. Has space for business cards. I wish it was a little bit bigger because I have one of those ginormous phones. It doesn't quite fit my phone. That's a mirror reflector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I keep a reflector in there. So you can stick like random objects in there that you're going to be using for shooting. And I kind of do wish this was a little bit bigger because if you have a giant phone, it doesn't quite fit your giant phone. I was going to say,
does the phone go in?
It fits tiny phones, but not big phones. So it will fit. I do stick my car key in there, so my car key's on me.
Oh, okay.
So that way, like, if my camera bag gets stolen, my car doesn't get stolen as well.
Oh, yeah, good one.
So, and that sticks on the belt as well. So I like that they have all these little accessories that you can add on.
I like the look of that. I kind of want to get that.
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing I would say is because I'm not slim, but I'm slim-ish.
Yeah, we're on the smaller side of humans.
We're on the smaller side of the human race. And I find, you know, because the belt has very little material left, I'm interested to see how that straps to you. Oh, you know what? It's because you don't have the pads blocking you. If you have this original belt, you kind of you have limited retail space for adding too many clips. So I mean, I have this Temba kind of, this is just a battery holder, and my two batteries will go in there. But I think I would struggle to put on the big card wallet. Yeah. Because I think I'd only be able to
there might not be any space to do it.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, an advantage of having sort of a custom vintage Etsy belt.
But I definitely recommend the spider belt system. I think the thing that you have to watch out for is being really careful when you first buy the system and you're not quite used to it. You could wear it that way, although that doesn't really put it on your
it doesn't help my logistics.
You have to be really careful when you first start using it, because if you're not paying attention to when you put the cameras in, you can accidentally drop your cameras.
Oh yeah.
So,
and that's something I think people worry about. That when I say to them, "Oh, this system's great," their first question is, "Have you ever dropped the camera?"
I've dropped one once when I first got it, and I wasn't paying attention. But now that I've had it for a while, it's become second nature, and I don't drop them.
It kind of feels like knowing where when people say, you know, how do you know where to clip it in? Because it's always in the same position. It's like knowing, like, how can you touch your elbow? That's what it feels like, I think, over time.
You get so used to it that it's just second nature.
I've dropped it only once before in my life, and to be fair, it's because I was in a dark mosh pit and people were jostling me.
Yeah.
So
did you not have it locked in?
I just misjudged it, and I felt something click, and I think I just did this. And I thought it had clicked, and I let go of it. And I was in a hurry, and it was a bit of a rush. Like,
it's a problem with mosh pits. Yeah.
I've never done it at a wedding, so it was specifically just music shooting, basically. Yeah. But generally, no, it's not something that you really have to think about after a while. I find, it does become part of your body. The only other thing that you kind of have to be aware of is, I find when you first get it, you forget, you have to remember you've almost sort of widened yourself artificially. So when you walk through doors or pass through guests, I just get in the habit of like turning to the side and walking through narrow bits. I would not sort of walk.
You almost have to pretend like you're fatter than you actually are. Yeah. I mean, like, I am now a fat person, and I have to kind of go like that.
You have to just rotate a little bit. Yeah.
I think in general, there's a few different things I would change about it. However, even though the fact I have dropped a camera, I broke a hot shoe because I wasn't paying attention. The value that I've gotten back from my overall neck and back health is worth far more than any potential slight camera damage that I might have from dropping something.
It's priceless, I think.
It's priceless. Yeah. Like, so if you're doing this job, like, let's say you're doing wedding photography as a job, you're shooting a lot of weddings, you have to take care of yourself. You have to physically take care of yourself, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do this job for any amount of time, because you've really screwed up your back. So the fact that I broke a hot shoe, not really relevant to the fact that, like, hey, look, I can move my back and my neck.
Yeah. So, this is the more valuable piece of equipment than...
My head is more valuable than a lens, so I'd like to think. So, yeah.
So that's kind of a...
Should we give it like a chew in the bell rating system?
I feel like we just both give it a 10. Like, well...
I would give it a 9.3 out of 10.
Okay, where does it lose the minus?
It loses the -7 because I wish this was leather and a bit more stylish.
Yeah. I have actually written to them, asked them to do it in different material. And
I feel like the black, I feel like the all black is a bit in the right direction.
Yeah.
But because, you're dressing up fancy for events, it's nice to have something that's a little bit more stylish.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes me shallow, probably.
But I think it would help convert a lot of people. I think
a lot more people would be more interested in doing them.
We're in an aesthetic industry. That's the bottom line.
And you're going to an event where a lot of people are dressed up. It looks, and I think that's why some people like some of the shoulder systems that tend to be leather, because they do look really nice.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why these can't really be the same.
Yeah.
And I would happily pay more money for it to be leather.
Same.
They could just take my money, honestly. Yeah. Like, it's worth every penny. So yeah, I would say maybe 9.4. I'll give it a 9.4 just for not being leather.
Okay, that's
vegan friendly leather, fake leather, something that looks a little bit more stylish. Leather-like. But I do really like that they've still sold the bits.
Yeah.
That you can kind of make your own belt if you want to.
It's to get rid of the dissenters, the 0.6 dissenters. 0.
Not point.
Yeah, 0.6. I had to think of that one. I was like, maths. What makes 100?
All right. So if you use the spider boat? No, it's not a boat. If you'll
sail on this spider boat.
That sounds like a terrifying boat. Filled with spiders. God. I would rather swim. If you use a spider belt system and you like it or you don't like it, you can leave a note in the comments. I think pretty much everybody who uses these is a fan.
Yeah. I've met very few people who actually have gone for it and gone back to something else.
So if you're on the fence, stop being on the fence. We're not paid by Spider Belt, although if they sent us free shit, we would take it.
Get in that spider boat.
Get in that spider boat. We're not paid by them. We're not endorsed by them. But honestly, like, I genuinely really like them.
Yeah.